Good evening and welcome, everybody. Some of you already know the place where we are right now. Thank you. I see your generosity vividly displayed on the screen in full color. We have yellow, orange, and turquoise. It's fantastic, isn't it? It's a mind-boggling system. To me, it just blows my mind that we can do this at all. Hello, welcome everyone. This is, as you know, Sunday Night Live. It is home of the world-famous SuperChat mini readings. Yes, if you want a mini reading, this is the place to be. It happens live in real time, transmitted all over the world, simultaneously to every corner of the planet. Thank you very, very much for being here. Let's go see who's around. Let's have a look. Hello. This is my sort of like utility towel. I keep it here at my side because it's work. You know, this is work. It's like working in a kitchen, or it's like working in a gym. You know, you gotta, clean up as you go. I have this kind of policy of cleaning up as you go. Hello, Jackie. Hello, Tina. Hello, Gregory. Hello, Precious. Hello, Starzy. I think I just saw Starzy over there, yeah. Valdina Villanueva, I don't know. It looks like you were here earlier. I don't know how anybody could have known that we were here before I started the show, but, I have to prep things up in advance, but thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you so, so much. So, I think what we'll do, we'll just kind of dive right in, if you don't mind. Hopefully, the notifications will start going out shortly as the show, I guess it picks up momentum. I don't really know the inner workings of YouTube, how they actually do what they do, but eventually, the notifications go out and a few people receive them, and every now and again, somebody shows up. And if you want a reading, this is the place to be. Nikki, what's up? Hold on, I'm just doing some tune-ups here. Yay. Hi, Nikki. Yeah. Alright, so, you know what? I guess we could hang around, but why don't we just kind of get on with it? Let's get to work. It's dirty business, people. Somebody's got to do it, Hello, Diana. What's going on? You can see from the screen, basically, it's Sunday Night Live Super Chat mini readings. That's it. That's what we do here. It's pretty straightforward stuff. Most of the time, we just go blind. If somebody has a really, really delicate subject and you want to put a few words there, fine. But sometimes it works just fine to go completely blind, and we just completely trust the process. I'm sure some of you are, aware of some like famous psychic mediums like Nikki, for example. Hi, Nikki. Also, sometimes we have Ubasti's Purr. She comes here. She is a pet medium. Sometimes we have Fritterly. She comes here and she has like super brainiac powers, and somehow or other she picks things up. Sometimes we have Joanna the medium. She shows up. And sometimes we have other readers and psychic readers and healers from all over the planet who just show up. Oh, look. Nikki just lit up the screen. Thank you so much, Nikki. You're going to get your own magic post-it note. So I did everyone else live, so I'm going to do yours live. Okay, so Nikki, you've got it? Of course. Glad to oblige. Nikki. And advice from spirit guides. Advice from spirit guides. Look at that. Thank you, Nikki. Just to sort of blow my own trumpet here, I want you to know that Nikki is a highly capable psychic medium in her own regard. So I regard that as a compliment. Thank you, Nikki. I just saw that. Very nice. Wow. Okay, so I'll put that over here. That's yours, Nikki. I'll leave the rest open here. We've got room and time for a couple more. I think we can handle a couple more. So, Precious, I imagine for you it's still pretty chilly up there in Edmonton, Canada. Let me see if I can remember. Because some of you have been here before. Actually, I recognize all of you. Let's have a look. Let me see. Precious over there, Edmonton, Canada, right? Got that. Sir Gregory Ross over in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Ms. Tina Miller, also in New Mexico, in a spiritual community. Things are shifting, of course, for Tina, as some of you know. Nikki over there on the East Coast, up in the New York area. Thank you very much. Let's see who... when the screen does that, it's like the automatic cameras are trying to do their focusing, and sometimes it doesn't work very well, so don't worry. You're not hallucinating. It's not your cameras. It's not your phone. It's not your tablet or desktop or whatever. It's the Terra Lumination cameras. I haven't set them up properly, so I'm just doing what I can. Yeah. Thank you, Nikki. Thank you so much. Let me go over and say hello again. Thank you, Nikki. I should wear a badge. I should have like a little badge or something that says, the psychic for psychics. Something like that. Okay, so you've heard my story many times. I started several years ago with this channel. And I'm here because I was, let's say, pushed into it by my invisible friends, you know, the folks up there. And we all have our invisible friends, whether we like it or know it or not. And they gave me some very, very powerful nudges to basically start this YouTube channel about 3 years and 3 months ago. We're still here. 3 years, 3 months, 3 days, 3 hours, 3 minutes and 33 seconds ago. So that's how cool we are here. Yeah. And thank you all for being here and being so supportive for a lot of that time. Thank you very much. Yay, rain during the high fire risk. Hello, Love Tribird. Greetings. Oh, 30 degrees up there in Edmonton. Whoa, that's warm. Of course, you're coming into summer now, aren't you? Because normally you have a pretty chilly winter, shall we say. All right, I've got to get a couple of little, let's say, supplements. I have to get my supplements. And then we can get started. Stay right there. Don't go away. I'll be right back. Oh, look. Isn't that nice? Look at that. How sweet. Ta-da-da-da. Cheers, everybody. So yeah, check in amongst yourselves, chat amongst yourselves. I know some of you like to do readings on the side while we're doing readings. That's cool too. I hope we get a few notifications that go out to some other people tonight. What's that? Hold on. Jarsman Productions. I'm new to this channel. I am basically looking for a place I can get personal live readings. PayPal. Yeah, you can do that. Jarsman Productions. Okay, so if you want to, J Productions, if you want to do a direct to PayPal, you can bypass the whole of the Terra Lumination Sunday Night Live SuperChat button. You don't have to do it. If you go to terralumination.com and you go to the, I think it should open on the place where people purchase readings. You just, there's a page, it just says readings. You go to terralumination.com, it says readings. You click that page and it opens up a PayPal window. You click the button, it takes you straight to PayPal, and you can just swipe your card, whatever it is, and put $10 into the slot, and all of a sudden you get a reading, just like that. Okay? Yeah, it works. Of course, just remind me, just let me know, and I'll double check it from here. It might take a few minutes to come through, but otherwise it should work just fine. Yeah. This is a good place where you can get personal live readings. I'm sure there's other places you can go, but I'm glad you're here. Thank you very much, Mr. Productions, Ms. Productions. Let's go straight to work. Come on, we got a lot of work to do, people. Let's have a look. Okay, precious. So you want answers, okay? Oh, no, Productions. Tarot Lumination. The spelling. Check the spelling very carefully. T-A-R-O-T. I'll spell it for you. It looks like this. T-A-R-O-T. Lumination. And it's all one word. .com. Okay, so it looks like that, terralumination.com, and it's all one word, okay? Yeah. There's also probably a link below in the description box, but it might be easier if you just, I don't know, go on a device or something and just click terralumination.com. Yeah. So if you want to do that, that'll be fine. We'll check in as we go. I'll put that over here. Okay. All right, let's just see what happens. Okay, let's start off. Precious. Let's just dive in, okay? I'm going to put you right here on center stage. I'm going to put this over here for reference in case people need it. I'm going to put magic post-it notes up at the top. And let's actually... Excuse me. Okay. Write out your PayPal emails. Oh, Nikki, you're a genius. Wow, a genius. Saves so much time. Why not? Okay, so I'm just going to put this aside for a moment. Nikki, you're just a darling. Thank you so much, Nikki. So you can actually just do the PayPal direct to the Terra Lumination email, which is like this: a little book about at yahoo.com. That's the Terra Lumination email, a little book about at yahoo.com. And you can send PayPal direct there if you want. That's even easier. I never thought about that, Nikki. Thank you, Nikki. I'll just put that over here. Thank you, Nikki. Otherwise, the website itself is called tarotlumination.com. tarotlumination.com. Okay, so there we go. Fantastic. Thank you, Nikki. Actually, I'll just let that sit for a moment. I'm just going to check in over here. All right, so first up, we're looking at precious moments over there in central Canada. Far, far, far away. Cheers, precious. I know you said you want answers. If you want, we can just go blind. If you feel the urge to touch on a very particular subject, like, for example, this is like a generic way to phrase a question for a tarot reader like myself. For example, here we go. Dear Tarot Illumination, what are the messages that your cards have for me tonight regarding the subject of ... And you just fill in the blanks with a couple of words like spirituality, finance, children, home, career, whatever it is, just one or two words. That's all we need. All that does is kind of open the door to get things going. And that's about it. Otherwise, I'll just go blind, okay? So I'll keep an eye on the chat. This is the first reading of the evening, precious. Greetings. Let's go for it, people. Got work to do. All right, so hands on. Let's clear it all up. Put this over here. We've got the basics going. Oh gosh, I see your notes, okay? Okay. So I'm going to open up the deck here. Cards are already well shuffled in advance, but I like to go live so that people are a witness, okay? Here we go. So it's just it's a pristine deck, and we're ready to go. And Precious is concerned about like choices here, decisions, moving towards the Sagittarian interest or staying close to the Pisces. Precious heart is confused. Well, you know what? Let me just get on with this because I'm going to give you a little bit of background, okay? And United States or Canada? Okay. I see what you're saying. It's a choices, decisions. Okay, okay. It's 10 bucks. Hey JP, it's 10 bucks. I saw the notes there. I'm still settling in. I'm still just shuffling, getting everything ready to go. Okay, Precious. So you know kind of what to do. You put so much energy into your life, being who you are and doing what you do. Like you deserve so much simply because you offer so much. Okay? Excuse the wobbles on the lenses. Can't help it right now. Just have to live with it, okay? So let me point out a few things. I just want to make a little note in the heavens that affect all of us. I know I'm aware of them and I'm taking very, very paying close attention. Let me do a very quick astrodoodle, okay? It won't take a moment, okay, Precious? And you can understand why everyone should be concerned right now. Okay, so let me just do this really quickly. And just to get it, you know, kind of in the conversation. This is the chart over here in the United States, in my part of the world, right now tonight, for the universal chart, using a Western simplified astrology. Aries, okay, Taurus, bear with me, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra over here, Scorpio over here, Sagittarius over here, Capricorn, all the big long names are over here on this side, Aquarius, and Pisces. Okay. Now, there's all sorts of things going on in the planets all the time, as a lot of you know, but the things that are really jumping out at me personally tonight are some super hyper stressful aspects between Mars, Neptune, and Venus, and the Sun. Okay, over here. Let me put some highlights. I'm just going to put bright red highlights because these are super hyper stressful. Alright, so we've got Mars over here, and we've got Neptune over here, and we've got the Sun and Venus over here. So, let me just, there's a whole bunch of other things going on. Actually, let me just put the other one over here. There's all the Capricorn stuff and the Cancer stuff. Okay, so this is also super super weird. It's just kind of a weird thing. There is, well, we're not really at the really stressful point yet, but it's building. This is building up. Okay? So I'll just put these aside. Now, when I see this, okay, just give me a second here. I need to center myself personally. Okay? When I see this, this is, to me personally, I look at this as weather. I look at this like a weather chart. This looks very, very stressful to me. This looks like very serious, challenging aspects in communication. Very, very easy to miscommunicate, misunderstand, confuse, and be susceptible to illusions and disillusions of what is true and what is not true about our communications with ourselves and ourselves to others and with others to us. I feel that the whole planet right now is subject to very, very tough aspects in terms of what I would call self-undoing, the house of self-undoing over here, where we end up becoming our worst enemies without even knowing it, where it's like, they call it the invisible enemies, okay? This area is the energy, invisible energy, enemies. So it might feel like it would be very easy to be completely sucked up into psychic, mental, spiritual, emotional confusion and miscommunications in relationships with our loved ones and vice versa. It's very easy to say, basically look at it like this. It's very easy for any one of us, whether you're the president or a pope or a politician or a banker or a driver, whatever it is, it's extremely easy to say the wrong thing at the wrong time to the wrong person for the wrong reasons in the wrong place. And it just creates a lot of misunderstanding and pain and confusion. Okay? I'm susceptible to this just like anyone else, and I have already put my foot in it badly enough as it is, and I'm trying to get through this period as gracefully as I can. Okay? So anyway, we are all vulnerable, okay? And you, precious, are just as vulnerable as anyone else, because as far as I remember, you have certain aspects in your nature that could easily be triggered right now. So let's have a look. Okay? Here we go. Hold on, I'm gonna just check something. I'm gonna do a technical thingy over here. And let's have a look here. Okay. All right. So okay, I got it. Okay, I got it. All right. So precious. I know it sounds like you're stressed out about it, like going to this or going to that, the United States or Canada, having love interests, and nobody wants to make mistakes in this area of life, obviously. And all of us, I know, I'm just like everyone else. I love having a mate. I love having someone who understands me, and I love being there for someone that, and I can be understanding for them. It's like a mutual support thing. That's one of the things I value a lot, especially things like loyalty as well. So let's have a look. Some of the key things that we look for in a really healthy relationship are things like kindness, patience, a willingness to listen, respect, privacy, respect of personal boundaries and personal time, private time, and being willing to say no and being willing to set up boundaries so that you maintain your integrity as an individual and you work and you relate with someone who maintains their integrity as an individual, and both parties relate to each other as fully integrated beings in the context of a relationship where there's you, there's the other party, and there's a third entity called a relationship itself. And in a very healthy relationship, both parties work through the relationship. They always filter everything through the relationship rather than going at it one-on-one, okay? They always consider the relationship itself. I mean, you don't want to take it to the top like some kind of soap opera, you know, but anyway. Hello, Queen of Water. Hello, Starsy. All right, here we go. So, Precious, let's go and let's have a look at the situation. You're in a bit of a tangle, a bit of a dilemma, not sure where your heart is going, where you should go compared to where you might want to go. What's healthy for you? What's the challenges for you? We're going to have a look at that. This is going to be a diagnostic. It's the same, spread that I use for so many things because it just gets straight to the point. It saves a huge amount of time and energy, and then we can actually get to the core of the subject, okay? Here we go. Let's have a look. I'm just doing a traditional cut, so everything looks just like any other tarot reading. Here's the situation, here's the challenges, and here's how we're going to handle it. Now, you've prefaced this reading, Precious, about really it comes down to decision making. And I think it's really important to acknowledge that. Some of you have seen some of the other shows and readings that I do. I haven't done them a lot and for a long time, but I believe decision making is fundamental to the process of our own spiritual evolution, our physical evolution, body, mind, heart, and soul. The whole phenomenon and concept of decision making. We have that. When you outsource your decision making to, let's say, conditioning or to other people or to giving away your power, you're literally undermining yourself. That's self-sabotage. Please, Precious, do everything you can to maintain your right to make your own decisions. Doesn't mean you have to have answers right now. So you're talking about a this or that, an A and a B, a Sag or the other, United States or Canada. So let's have a look overall. The surrounding energies, I kind of did an astrodoodle about that. Okay, let's see if I can find it again. Because this is affecting all of us and it affects you. So this dynamic here is super stressful right now. I just wanted to point that out. There's other stuff going on, but this is super stressful. So it puts a lot of pressure on Gemini energy, the active day-to-day brain, communications with ourselves, our self-talk, neuro-linguistic programming. And that is all being highly disturbed and thrown about almost to the point of vandalism by Mars in Pisces coming very close to conjuncting with Neptune. To me, that's like serious self-undoing. So you need to be very, very careful about the potential for self-sabotage here. Okay? And once you're aware of that, then you're much less likely to be a victim. So if you're aware of the concept of self-sabotage and that you could be, let's say, driving a car through conditions where it would be very easy to slip off the side of the road, when you are aware of that, you'll be much less likely to slip off the side of the road. Okay, it's still possible, it's still a risk, but you're less likely. So let's have a look. How does this translate for you, precious? Here we go. Here is your reading. Okay, so already right from the start, okay, precious, we have here the Six of Swords. And to me, this looks actually quite encouraging in terms of thinking, in terms of a big picture. Almost like a migration. You know, some people think of this as moving on, almost like grabbing everything with a backpack and a suitcase and a laptop and your loved one, and taking only the things with you that you know are true and just and honest and that have actual meaning and value, and then you just move on. You look for peaceful horizons and you leave all the turbulence and the old life and the old world behind. It might be, for example, that the energies that are around you, precious moment, right now, are supportive of the idea of you've got to make some kind of move. Now, is that a psychological move, a decision, or a physical move? Let's keep looking, okay? Because I know you're based in Canada, but if it means a physical move towards the United States, I could see how that could relate to this card here quite easily. But I'm not going to prejudge the reading. I don't pull all the cards at once and then look at the story. We go through it like a movie. Okay, here we go. What's the situation? Okay, so to me, when I see this Strength card here, to me it feels like you are at risk, and you know this. You know that you are a little bit vulnerable to your passions, your desires as being a woman, and needing and wanting and deserving to be satisfied as a woman. And yet at the same time, you're also aware that you have to consider the dynamics of relationship from a much more evolved spiritual aspect. And in some ways that makes it a really big challenge here, because a lot of people would much rather, either have a simple, straightforward, physical, passionate relationship, and just trust that when you have, made that kind of connection with somebody where you have had whatever you want to call it, nookie, then that's supposed to be a very telling indication that you have something special. Some people are thinking like, I would much rather have a spiritually oriented, platonic type of relationship where it's very pure, it's based on very high frequency spiritual principles, and you don't worry about the more like human aspects that are fueled by hormones. But I think what's happening here with you, precious, is that you're aware of both aspects. You are aware, very clearly aware, that you are a woman who wants to love and to be loved as a woman by someone who loves you as the woman that you are, and desires you and fancies you and lusts after you in such a way that you can lust after them and you can feel the joy of passion. And yet, at the same time, you're also very aware that that can be a very, very quick pathway to a world of self-delusion and illusion and regret. So you have to be extremely careful, okay? My feeling here with the energy and the little astrodoodle that I talked about is that you're already aware that you're kind of torn between yourself and yourself. Your higher self. In other words, wouldn't it be awesome if we could just have both? Couldn't we have a really beautiful, platonic, very loving, highly spiritually evolved relationship and have physical satisfaction and romance and passion and lust at the same time? But a lot of people have discovered that that can actually be quite a tricky combination. It's not always that easy. We might wish for that and believe that it's possible, but it's a different thing to actually manifest that. So what's the challenges here? Okay, my feeling is that you have a deep fear of the unknown. You're absolutely terrified of making a decision and following up on the decision because you don't know where it's going to go. And also there's a deep fear, my feeling here is a deep fear of not wanting to make mistakes again that happened in the past. Nobody wants to do that. Almost everyone who is of the age of consent has the right to say to themselves and their friends and their lovers and exes, whatever, that, you know what? Every now and again, I made a mistake. I've made a few big mistakes. I've made some very, very big mistakes. And it's very easy and natural to be terrified of these big mistakes and be terrified of taking a leap into the unknown world of new relationships. In other words, even though you might feel a very strong kind of spiritual bond with someone far away, and that makes, and all the indications make it feel like, oh, I think this is a calling. I have to go to them. Okay, that's fine. But there's also the deep fear like, oh my God, what if this turns into a really, really big mistake? You know? And it's an understandable fear, because if you're putting so much time and love and energy and commitment into the potential for love, and then it backfires, oh my God, then you end up with a lot of pain and suffering and regret. So I understand your concern and why you're asking these questions, okay? Thank you, precious. Cheers. So how are we going to deal with this? Let's have a look. Okay, so my feeling here with the Nine of Wands is please, please, precious, be prepared to hold back on your decision making for the moment, okay? You may be forced, you may be feeling that you are being forced by nature to make a decision right now, okay? Let me show you something. I've used these notes several times already in the last week or two. This is a huge pileup of energy right now, and it's all going back to back. And each of these energy fields represents the pressure of evolution, evolutionary upgrades, especially because of the eclipses, okay? Please, everybody, mark your calendar. We have 3 eclipses in a row, all highly significant. It just depends where they land in your chart. If you want to get readings about that, you can come and contact Terra Illumination. We can have a big, expensive, long, private, personal reading. In the meantime, mark your calendars. June the 5th, full moon, okay? Sun in Gemini, moon in Sagittarius. It happens to sit on top of the Donald Trump axis and the axis of the United States 1st and 7th house relationships dynamic, okay? June the 21st, a big important eclipse for the United States, the sun in Cancer and the moon in Cancer, a new moon eclipse, and then a monster eclipse over here, 4th of July 2020, okay? The sun will be in Cancer, the moon will be in Capricorn. We'll probably have to do separate videos about this, but 3 eclipses in a row. What does that tell you? So precious, what I'm going to do is do a little tiny bit of a note here just for you on this chart. You know how I sometimes talk about eclipses as evolutionary gateways, and I use that analogy of elevators, okay? It's happening for everybody on the planet, but it also affects you as the individual. So this is eclipse number, this is an elevator, okay? This is an elevator, and this is an elevator. This is June 5th, June 21st, and July 4th. On the evolutionary elevators, we are entering at this vibrational frequency. We go up the elevator and we are expelled at a higher frequency. Okay? And that can be very disruptive and challenging for everybody. And there's no going back. And then, 2 weeks later, you run into another eclipse. And you are forced to operate and find ways to think at higher frequencies. Okay? And then you are expelled to the next level. Okay? And then we have another one. And after that, we're expelled over here. And then we have a chance to integrate all this energy. But can you see, Precious, over the next 6 weeks or whatever it is, everyone on planet Earth is going to be going through these evolutionary upgrades. These are the eclipses. Please look at this as evolutionary gateways where everybody is being forced to take evolutionary leaps to reach higher levels of frequency of their operating systems, the way they behave in your body, your mind, your heart, and your soul. That's a tremendous amount of pressure on every individual and on the whole planet. And it affects you, Precious, just as much as anyone else. So what I'm suggesting here with the Nine of Wands, okay, with this Nine of Wands, okay, Precious, please allow yourself to live through what might be some very uncomfortable, destabilizing evolutionary leaps and upgrades. And you would not be on this show, you would not be on this channel, you would not be getting this reading unless you knew deep down, somewhere in your deepest soul spirit, you could handle this. All I'm suggesting right now is regarding the process of decision making with all these so many planets retrograde, please be extremely patient on yourself. Allow for the fact that you have brought this upon yourself and it's very challenging, and you will find answers because you have to, okay? You have to. But please understand that you are in the thick of battle here between self and self, between the lower self and the higher self. You know you want answers. You know you want to evolve and adapt and move on to what is better and healthier for you. But you can't just flip a switch right now. You have to live through these evolutionary gateways, okay? 1, 2, and 3. It's going to happen in quick succession, okay? So please, in terms of a calendar, in terms of the ticking clock, okay, allow yourself well into July before you make any decisions. Please, okay, Precious? Allow yourself to sit with this reading. Think about what it means. Do your homework. Investigate, communicate, whatever you have to do. Perhaps do some, Skype meetings, Zoom meetings, or FaceTime meetings, or whatever you want, or Google Face thingy meetings, or whatever. And get to know thyself, okay? Learn about yourself as you go through this. But ultimately, all I'm suggesting here with the Nine of Wands is please be prepared for more, let's say, work to do, more experience. Please allow yourself to live through the eclipses and endure the intense pressure of these eclipses before you make any big decisions to move on in any way, shape, or form, okay? Okay? Thank you, Precious. I hope that helps you. Thank you so much. So give me a second here. I've got to, we're going to tidy up this reading, and after that we're going to move on to Sir Gregory. Okay? Actually, Sir Gregory, you're going to come over here onto center stage. Thank you very much. Tina is over here. I've got Nikki over here, and I just have to check something on production. J Productions. Give me a second. I've got it. I see it. Oh, wow. Fantastic. Let me just... I'm not going to do a lot of fancy screen sharing right now, okay? Saman Productions. I'm going to read the note to people before we get to your reading, okay? So, thank you very much. I want to say thank you to Precious for having the courage to subject yourself to one of these tarot illumination readings, because many times people get readings with messages they don't necessarily want to hear, okay? People are looking for soothing and comfort, typically in their questions. They want answers so that they don't have to go through the stresses. But we've heard on this story here that it's very important that Precious lives through the fear, lives through the stresses. Allow yourself to come out the other side in the middle of July before you make any serious decisions, okay? no matter how much passion might be, or how much desire you might want to move on, or how convenient it might be. Okay, so now I have to give let me make a note here, because I'm just checking with okay. JR Productions. So when it comes time for your reading, okay, JP, I'm just going to call you JP, okay? So JP, when it comes time for your reading, I'm going to pull up the notes that you have here on the screen so everybody understands what's going on. Right now, let's clear this up, and we're going to move on to Sir Gregory. Okay, let's have a look. Over here, give me a second. I'm just doing some twiddling around and adjustments. And thank you, Precious. I hope that helps you in some way. So that everybody understands what's just happened here. Hello, Ivona. I see you. I see you. So I just want to convey to everybody here on the show tonight, JP made a decision to buy a mini reading tonight live in person here in front of everybody, in front of witnesses, and he did it by going through tarotlumination.com and direct to the Tarot Illumination email, and it worked. I double checked on the Tarot Illumination website and the PayPal, and it all came through. So I just wanted to tell you it works. Thank you very much, JP. Thank you so much. That's very encouraging to me, because it's very rare that I've ever done anything like that. You know what? This is looking remarkably empty. Can you see that? There's nothing in there. Give me a second. All right, Sir Gregory, just hang in there. We'll get back to you in just a moment. It's time for some refreshments. Also, Precious, by the way, there's a huge raft of retrogrades in the heavens right now. You know, right now, today, I think it's Venus, Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto. That's a lot of heavy-duty monster retrogrades. I mean, forget Mercury retrograde. We're talking about much bigger, deeper retrogrades. Here we go, Gregory. So let me clear the deck here. I'm just going to clear this up, and then I'm going to connect with you directly. Okay, Gregory? All right. You want a general. I just saw your notes. I saw your notes. Okay, we're going to go big and wide in general. You don't have to say anything, Gregory. Whatever comes up, comes up. Just let me clear the deck here. Chat amongst yourselves. Thank you very, very much. Gosh, you're good people. You've been very kind and very supportive this evening. I'm glad to offer this service. I love doing readings. I really love doing it. I wish I could do it all day, every day, but I can't. It seems to take a lot out of my physical resources. I don't know why, really, but it does. I think a lot of people who do mediumship and psychic readings, they often have these kinds of realizations like, wow, I'm using massive amounts of some kind of like super high frequency energy. It's kind of like dragsters when they do drag racing. You know, they use up a lot of fuel just to, you know, do a little thing, you know. But anyway, here we go. I like to have a really nice, clean, clear deck. No jumpers, no flyers, no reversals. I keep it super, super simple. As you know, Gregory, it really helps if we kind of like get in the spirit of everything here. Hold on. You know, because I just take it for granted that I have my invisible friends. I've kind of been that way ever since I was kind of a little kid. I always felt that there were like these so-called beings from beyond out there somewhere. And there's a question of awareness and sense of presence. And what does it all mean? And eventually I just kind of gave up. I just accepted that I have my invisible friends. And if other people can't handle that or understand that, it's not my problem. Okay? So in my particular world, the way I live my life, a lot of the times in day-to-day stuff, like if I'm having to drive to the store, or I have to wash some dishes, or I have to, do some laundry, sometimes I'm so focused and so immersed in the moment, in the process, that I actually forget that I have my invisible friends. But I also know from vivid, multiple experiences that they are there. They are extremely pure, loving beings. You could say, like, at the very highest frequencies, you could have what you might call your archangels, which are like universal energy forces that share their energies with the whole planet. And then you have your angels, and then your own cluster of really close, tight friends, which oftentimes would be recognized as loved ones from the great beyond. Okay? And then you get to the point where you're in three-dimensional life here on Earth, while you're having a 5, 7, 11 multi-dimensional experience at the same time. And so that often happens, like with Nikki, for example. Nikki has the capability for this thing called remote viewing, which is a variation on psychic mediumship. It's like variations on a theme. The astrologers, the psychics, the tarots, the mediums, the pet mediums, and like the police assisters, and all of those things. And whatever you want to look at it, but it's like variations on frequencies that we can't detect normally with our basic senses, eyes, nose, ears, mouth, and our skin and touch. But we have something called the pituitary gland inside here. And that pituitary gland, from my understanding, acts kind of like an antenna, sort of like an eyeball. Apparently the pituitary is very, very similar in structure to an eyeball. But the little sensors are tuned into higher frequency energy fields than the visual spectrum. We're talking about much higher frequency energies, the energy of visions, the energy of mediumship, the energy of dreams, the energy of, like, whatever they call it, astral travel, or, psychic perception, or clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, clairsmelliance, clair everything else. All of that. So I take it all for granted. But on the other hand, the question is, what do you do with all that stuff? Anyway, it's been a problem. Let's just tell you. I'll just tell you, okay? So, all right, let's get back. Gregory, we're going to go and hang out now. Let's see what happens here, okay? All right, Gregory. So, I'm going to shuffle again to the very last second. Let's bless this deck. Bless every single card. Bless the whole channel. Bless the cameras and the lights and the computers and all the softwares and the multi-dimensional control systems. All of that good stuff. The platforms that allow us to do all of this. It's mind-boggling we can do this at all. It just blows my mind. And so here we are. We're doing this theme. So, going back to the big picture stuff, Sir Gregory, I don't want to, I'll go back to, hold on, let me just do this. Just at this very moment in time, we're dealing with this energy for the whole planet right now. This is what everyone's going to be living through over the next few weeks. And Where did I put it? I just made an astrodoodle for, excuse me. It's this one here. And this is what's happening right now in the planets. So, to me, this is extremely hazardous energy. This is the energy of self-undoing, extreme very, very, very easy to miscommunicate, and things get very volatile, explosive, incendiary, completely out of control communications or miscommunications, all fueled by fear, anger, rage, delusion, unresolved wounds deeply buried in our collective past and our individual past. Okay? So that affects all of us, okay? Question is, how do we deal with that? Let's have a look, okay? Let's have a look. Let's see here. All right, let's see. Okay, brace yourself, Gregory. Do what you gotta do. Get in the groove. Get in the mood. Here we go. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle it. Let's bless this reading and ask for whatever messages need to come for Gregory to come to Gregory in a very clear, unambiguous manner. The surrounding energies, okay? The King of Pentacles. Okay. Well, I'm very happy to see this for you, Sir Gregory. I think this is very fitting for you. If to me, this seems like it's a moment of, like, I would say almost like sacred opportunity, even though it's not an ace card. I see this as like the planets. If you could say that the planets were talking to you right now, my feeling is that they would like to say to you that it's important that you see yourself as this energy. Please look at yourself in the mirror and consider yourself having a reflection being thrown back at you from the heavens. And it might not be that you are this right now, but they want you to start considering yourself in this role where you place yourself in a position of mastery, of, I would say, self-confidence, a sense of ownership, a sense of rulership, a sense of dignity, above all, a sense of sovereign self, in that you are worthy, you are deserving, okay? You are ready, willing, and able to receive what I would call the healing power of love in action. Pentacles I see as action, actionable experiences in your life. And sometimes that could show up in terms of things like success in business or money, and only doing what you know is ethical, right, and just, and rewarding. And you don't have to necessarily apologize to anyone and everything. That does not fit that category. On the other hand, my feeling is that by seeing this energy as a potential reflection of yourself coming back to you, let's say through the eclipses right now, this will allow you to, I mean, it's not like all of a sudden you're going to see yourself differently in the mirror, but it would be like a psychic, emotional, spiritual awareness, like, wow, actually, I am worthy, I am deserving, I am a man of substance, I do have integrity, I do have value, I do have values that are very sturdy and reliable and robust, and somebody's got to do it and maintain that, okay? It's almost like the energy of being a fund manager, okay? Taking care of money, doing things properly. Sometimes through service, through helping other people manage their finances, for example. Helping people come to terms with their assets. Because a lot of people can't handle money. Some people are very wealthy, but they're very incompetent with handling money. Some people are extremely wealthy in spirit, but they're not very competent at actually manifesting the money in this kind of way. My feeling is that there's a sense of mastery here where you can be of service to those who maybe have assets, but they don't necessarily have the skills. Okay. Here we go. What's the situation itself? Six of Swords here in a different position, okay? So Sir Gregory, looks like there's this really keen energy inside of you, like almost like you're really itching to move on. Like, man, I need some changes. I need some big changes. What I really want to do is downsize. I want to simplify my life. I want to reduce my life to the essentials of what really counts, okay? Sometimes we can be saddled by physical, let's say, what do they call it? The trappings of wealth. And sometimes it's possible to reconfigure our lives so that we are not owned by the trappings of wealth. We are not, let's say, trapped in our physical material reality. And to me it looks like there's a deep yearning to lighten the load. Really, quite a lot of people are actually starting to think this way, Sir Gregory, so don't worry about it if you feel weird. A lot of people are starting to think, well, wait a minute, do I really need this big house? Do I really need 3 cars? And do I really need all that stuff over there and all of that? Can I actually survive in a much simpler setting with just the things that count for me, like maybe my favorite pet, or maybe my computer, an internet connection, my phone, a few of my favorite garments of clothing, and a few good relationships that I can call on my phone or my internet or whatever, and enough to make sure I can eat and have shelter for the next few days. Now, I'm oversimplifying it, but that's what I'm feeling here. Like, it's almost like desire to have a lot of freedom and liberation, and to move on, to have some adventure, and only carry with you the things that endure beyond the physical plane. Things like really healthy attitudes, concepts, beliefs, knowledge, information, communications, relationships that count. Reduce and simplify. Downsize and save. All those kinds of things. Now, what's the challenge here? Okay, to me it looks like with the King of Pentacles here, with the Knight of Pentacles here, we're looking at like a fear of not being able to do this, a deep fear of not being able to streamline and do things the way that you would really want to, for fear of basically losing the whole farm, if that makes any kind of sense. So I often see this energy here as the energy of the noble farmer, the person who has a very clear understanding of life, the world, and reality in the way that farmers do. Farmers have extreme high-risk lifestyles and businesses, and yet they do what they have to do, and they do it because they can. Someone has to do it. Someone has to provide like an anchor or a receptacle for good energy to work through in terms of physical reality, so that even in hard times or very challenging situations, you would find a way to get through, how to optimize your time, how to optimize your resources, how to optimize your talents and gifts, how to optimize your relationships. So to me it looks like there's a deep fear whether you can actually do this or not, because you've probably never tested yourself in such an extreme way before, because sometimes we get attached to our physical comforts in life, the things that we can touch, That's the physical life. But it looks to me that you're yearning for something above and beyond that, something that's more like in line with your spiritual center, your spiritual core. So how are we going to deal with this anomaly here? Okay. Queen of Cups. Okay, so this to me feels like it covers several aspects, including relationships in the personal life, relationships with work, relationships with clients, relationships with the people in your day-to-day life, like the people at the grocery stores, the gas station, doing laundry or assistants or friends and families and siblings and everything. My feel is the way to handle your situation right now is to almost take a meditative approach. Again, like we were talking about with Precious, allow yourself to live through these eclipses. All I'm suggesting is the eclipses are going to be putting so much pressure on everybody anyway, ratcheting things up, increasing pressure. My feeling is allow yourself to live through that. Allow yourself to live through the fear of not really knowing what to do and how to do it in terms of like decisions. Well, what am I supposed to do? How exactly am I supposed to allocate my time, my resources, my money, my relationships, my property, my clients? What am I supposed to do about that? Oh no, oh no, oh no. Give yourself a break. Allow yourself to float on a raft of love that you have already created for yourself as a physical, tangible, measurable thing. So look at it this way. There are people who love you, Gregory. There are people who you love, okay? And that can include clients, okay? That can include a relationship and so on. But look at your life from the loving aspect. Allow yourself to live through the eclipses and evaluate. And when you come outside the other side of the eclipses, you ask yourself the very most simple question, okay? What do I really, really want to do for me right now? What is the most loving thing that I can do for myself right now, on the understanding that when I love myself so deeply and so trustingly, that is the ultimate gift that I can offer the universe, which means all the people and assets and times and resources that I care about in my life already. So this requires a deep commitment to basically love thyself. And it might, to love thyself might really be contradictory to doing what might seem like practical or the most logical, sensible thing to do, like financially or in terms of career or business. Because we're constantly heading into the unknown. These three eclipses are pushing us very intensely into the unknown. And my feeling here is to allow that to happen, allow yourself to live through the experience, and then make the decision to do what is most in tune with the heart. Okay, so I'm going to go back. That's basically a reading, but look like this. Look, Gregory, okay? So, you know how I often talk about, like, you know, so much of the planet right now, especially in developed, so-called developed countries where people spend a lot of time in front of computers, devices, screens, tablets, and all that stuff. People are living from the neck upwards as though the rest of their physical being is just an extension of their brain. Okay? I don't see things that way. I see ourselves as complete beings. Body, mind, heart, and soul, all integrated into one, with this, the heart, center at the very core. And what I try to do myself in my personal life is to bring my head into service of the heart. Sometimes it's really hard to do. It's so much easier to live from here and sacrifice the heart in service of the brain, living out of fear. Because in a way, the brain is just a sensory device designed to spot and detect problems and then figure out how to solve them for your best outcome. But all of that's based on conditioning. What about this? Okay, so what I'm suggesting with the Queen of Cups for you, Gregory, is to allow yourself to live through the convulsions of these eclipses over the next 6-8 weeks, roughly, to the middle of July. And then put yourself into a deeply self-loving situation. Maybe take a trip somewhere. Literally, take a trip somewhere, like a little spa thing. And do those trippy things where you just disconnect. You know, forget social distancing for a while. Just go somewhere where you can be in a very private, safe place, like a small healing spa center, and you just kind of chill. You kind of do all this stuff, like, and you do that for a while, and you think, you know what? I need lunch now, and you go have a lovely lunch, and you splurge on yourself, and you think, I don't need a $20 lunch. I can have a $3, $5 lunch. I can get some street tacos, and I will be insanely satisfied. And then, wow, that felt so good. So what am I going to do now? What is the most loving thing I can do now? What now, what now, what now, what now? I need to take a nap and think about this. And you kind of go through it, and you allow all the feelings and emotions to like move through you till you come to a point of awakening where you kind of realize, oh, now I know what I'm going to do. Now I know who I am, and now I know who I'm going to be. I am, instead of doing, you're being. You're being Sir Gregory Ross instead of doing what you feel Sir Gregory Ross has to do. Okay? But I think it requires going into some kind of very, almost like a self-indulgent spa kind of situation. Like a little treat. Just something where you can learn to get back to here so that the brain is the servant of the heart, and you're no longer living at the mercy of this, where your heart is the servant of the brain. That has to stop. You're a very smart person, and you already understand what we're talking about here, but actually bringing it into operation is another thing. You actually have to live through it and commit to it and feel it. You have to actually feel it here, okay? It can be done. It will be done. So it is spoken, so it is done. Bless you, Sir Gregory. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your kindness and generosity. I know you understand what we're talking about. Okay, that's your reading. Here we go. All right, so up next we have Tina Miller. Yo, Tina. Oh, Frittily. Hey, Frittily. Oh, I'm just looking at the chat, everybody. I'm just letting you know I can see the chat here. Frittily just showed up, and she's probably talking about her little raccoons. Yes, I see it. And Tina is talking about how there are bears out in her area right now. Hello, Path. Good evening. Hello, Clementine over in New York. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Up next, we have Tina Miller. I know you've got a lot on your plate right now, Tina. You've been through so much recently. It's a lot to handle. Okay. Just having a little siplet. Raccoons. Man, raccoons are something else. I had a few, I never had pet raccoons, but I have had raccoons in the yard long, long ago. And personally, I didn't mind. I kind of like them. I think they're very beautiful, clever, smart, astute animals. I don't think they really mean any harm to anybody, but they have to find a way to live. and they understand, they figured out that human beings can be quite handy, you know. I'm not sure I'd want a raccoon as a pet. All right, Frittoli, I'm sorry, excuse me, Tina, I'm just shuffling up, clearing the deck. You know the routine. Tina, you're a very kind of advanced being. You've lived through so much. You've given so much. You're still giving so much. You deserve so much. You're acutely aware of like the energies around you. I can tell, you know, just from some of your notes on the screen. It's very easy to tell that you are an avid student of the, what do they call it? The esoteric arts, astrology, tarot, spirituality, self-help, psychic mediumship, all of those wonderful, wonderful things that exist above and beyond our traditional three-dimensional senses. Okay? So, Tina, bear with me. I'm just still shuffling up, okay? Oh, I'm just reading Frittoli's notes. How funny. Hello, Heather. I just saw you. What's going on? Hey, you know what, Heather? We had a reading a couple of years ago, didn't we? Aren't you up like in the Vancouver area? Am I getting confused? I don't know, Heather, but for some reason I'm getting a bit of a recall. I know the name Heather Mocha. Maybe I'm getting confused. I'm sorry. All right, Tina. Let's see what's going on. Yeah, I'm going to do the general. Don't you worry. Excuse me, no jumpers, no flyers. I'm not doing oracles or reversals or any of that stuff. Sorry. It is you. I thought so. We had a really good hangout, but that was a couple of years ago. There was a lot of, I think if I recall, there was a lot of upheaval going on. And you also happen to be one of these people, it's almost like a curse, like you're a highly advanced HSP. Your high sensory perception. You have ESP, and that's a problem for a lot of people. It actually, believe me, I know this for myself, but I also, because I've helped a lot of people who are like psychics and professionals and mediums and card readers, because sometimes it can be very, very disorienting to operate at those kinds of frequencies. It's kind of like being like some kind of weird test pilot. Hold on. Hi, Heather. So, Tina, give me a second. I just want to make notes about Heather, because if I recall, when Heather and I were working together doing these readings, Heather was suffering like the classic dilemma of someone who is naturally HSP, high sensory perception, and then the problem is like, well, what am I supposed to do with this stuff? Like, what is this stuff? Where is it coming from? Am I getting visions? Am I hearing things? Am I supposed to be a healer? Like, what is it? Like, why can't I just have a regular life and a regular job? Or I can do this all day, or maybe do this all day, like whatever it is that people do in their jobs. But no, you end up being one of these people where you're aware of all this other stuff. I know, I understand. Believe me, I understand. It's okay. All right, so, Tina. All right, here we go. Cheers, Tina. Thank you for all the support. Here we go. All right, so we're going to go general. I'm going to go big and wide, Tina. I know there's a lot. Okay, I guess I should just really do this for everybody, really. Just because it's such a critical moment in such an amazingly significant year in history. 2020 is going to go down in history, people, in the history books, especially for the United States. But right now, at this moment in time, whatever it is, Sunday evening in America, Pacific Standard Time on the 31st of May. This is what we have going on. These are the things that are jumping out at me that are extremely challenging. There is a very powerful yod energy. It's a very strange aspect, and it's telling everybody to be very compassionate and very, very caring, and be very, very careful about how we're expressing our energy to in the desire to control and command and manipulate reality to suit ourselves. What we need to do, of course, is be more compassionate and take other people into account, to be more empathic. We've already lived through that with the North Node Cancer eclipse, and now we're starting to shuffle into the Gemini North Node. That's a whole other story. We should probably do a whole video on that. But in the meantime, tonight, oh my God, there's a bug. Look, do you see that? Look at that little guy. Look at the little guy. Oh no, I'm going to have to... Oh, please. Where did he go? Oh, he's over here. Come here. Sorry, I'm going to have to pick him up. Here he is. I wonder if you can see him. Anyway, he's a bit lost. I'm going to put him outside. Give me a few seconds, all right? I'll be right back. Stay there, Tina. All right. Well, that was kind of an unplanned, unscheduled event. Thank you for your patience and understanding. So I was saying that this is kind of the thing that we're dealing with tonight. I see this as a very, very heavy energy in terms of self-defeating behavior, the house of self-undoing being heavily challenged in our relationships with ourselves and each other, highly combative, highly volatile intercommunications between ourselves and our loved ones, where we discovered that we have inadvertently become our own worst enemies. Guess what? All you have to do is look at the news and you'll see what I'm talking about, okay? So, for you, Tina, as well, I'm going to go to these rants over here. This applies to you, Tina, just as much as everyone else. So I think I'm just going to have to preface every person's reading with these particular notes. We're going through these huge evolutionary gateways, 3 in a row. It's highly unusual. And there's no going back. It's basically taking you where you are in your life right now, pushing you up to higher frequencies, then higher frequencies, then higher frequencies again. It's a lot of pressure. A lot of people are going to feel pain, misunderstanding, confusion, disorientation through all of this. A lot of people might feel a deep, deep resistance to this evolutionary flow, and they will fight it and resist it with all their energy, and in so doing make their lives miserable. Okay? It doesn't have to be that way. It's much better to just surrender to the flow. So, Tina, because you're already kind of a student of the esoteric arts, you're one of the people who's likely to benefit from the flow, to benefit from these evolutionary leaps, okay, in ways that other people might be suffering, okay? Okay. I can see the notes on the screen there. All right, Tina, I just want to get this crystal clear for you. You know the routine already. I think from, scraps of conversation that I've picked up off the chats and various readings, you're going through huge changes right now. So you could say that those eclipses could correlate to these huge evolutionary leaps that you already know that you're going to be experiencing in the next part of this year. So you're one of the lucky ones because you're aware. Okay, so it's kind of like surfing. If you're aware that these huge, powerful waves are coming in sequence, then you're less likely to be demolished by these waves. Go, Tina. So I'm going to try to be as very clear and pure and neutral as possible. What messages do we have here tonight for Tina regarding her situation overall? Okay, and because we've worked together for a long time, it's probably likely that I'm going to be influenced from previous experience and information. So please allow for that in the readings, okay, Tina? Thank you. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. You know the routine, Tina. Just make yourself comfortable. Allow yourself to be surrounded and embraced by your loving, dear, invisible friends. I'm going to do a very straightforward cut, trying to keep it nice and sweet and simple. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle it. And let's have a look at the weather for you in particular. Okay, the High Priestess. So my feeling here with the High Priestess energy, like almost like surrounding you, it's a little bit of like a, it's almost like, what's the word? Divine guidance. And it's a very serene, very surreal type of energy. You're surrounded by it. And I think this is a reflection of your own spiritual nature being reflected back to you, where as hard as it is to do this, as hard as it is to surrender to the will of heaven, to surrender to the healing power of love, it can be so contrary to what the so-called ego wishes. The thing is, Tina, you already have skills and talents in this area, but I have a feeling that you're going to be, let's say, tasked, T-A-S-K-E-D, tasked with the challenge of taking it to the next level where it's like, when I see this sometimes, here's what I'm sensing. Okay, Tina, hold on. Whatever you need to know will come to you when you need to know it. Not before, not after. When I look at the charts and everything, it's like a ticking clock, okay? So I'm factoring in the physical three-dimensional perspectives down here on Earth, because astrology has a very strong correlation to the movements of a clock, okay? An extremely intricate, very elaborate clock, but still a clock, okay? So when I see the High Priestess here, what I'm sensing for you is that you are being like charged with grace. In other words, it's almost like you are being, it's almost like you're being drawn, how can I, okay, think of a 7-Eleven gas station or something like that. Or like a convenience store gas station, and it's like in some kind of spiritual mystical movie, and you feel drawn in by this divine sense of intuition that you have to pull off the side of the road and go to this spiritual gas station. And you're kind of in this surreal dream. You get out of your spiritual car and you plug in the pump and your spiritual money, and the energy flows into you, and you are full. You are replenished, and everything that you need is at hand at that moment in time. And you don't have to know how or why or when. It's just a process of being deeply, deeply in the flow of the divine. Now, sometimes that's so contradictory to what the so-called ego wants. Sometimes people who are highly spiritually evolved, they also have immensely powerful egos, and they spend a lot of time having to, let's say, put the ego in its place in order to allow spirit to prevail. In other words, the pressure, for example, of having to make the brain the servant of the heart, so that you don't live your life as though your heart is the servant of your brain. I think you're already beyond that. So what I'm sensing here with the High Priestess is that you are being charged, kind of almost like being like it's like you're going to have to carry inside of you physically the energy of divine guidance. Number one, for yourself, but for others, your loved ones, the loved ones in your life, where you don't have to walk around in fancy robes. You don't have to cover yourself in incense and like do lots of heavy, 3-hour crystal meditations or anything like that. You just be Tina, but it's on the understanding that you're operating from very high frequencies and that you are a messenger of like divine timing, and it is your opportunity, and it's almost like your duty to operate like the High Priestess going forward. I think you're going to be, if you want to think of it as grooming, if you allow these eclipses to take you through what I would call a grooming process, where you get elevated from here to here to here to here, so that you are this new, more highly evolved version of Tina Miller. Okay? So that energy out there, those astrodoodles I showed you, they're working for you. They're very supportive of you. And that's going to take you into the new place of where you need to be, who you need to be, and why you need to be, and with whom you need to be. Okay? So let's have a look at the situation itself. Okay, so with the Four of Cups here, to me this is like a crashing down to earth. Again, like, can we go back to the analogy of like you, the driver of your spiritual car? You are spirit incarnate, and your car is like your physical body of spiritual incarnate. And as you go through these evolutionary gateways, my feeling is that with the Three of Cups here, on each of these single eclipses, you're going to go through these profound moments of, I would say, spiritual awakening, which might be very heartbreaking and perhaps tragic for you as an individual. But you have to evolve and mature beyond this and accept it as part of the pain of human life, human suffering, the regret. Like, oh, if only, if only. I coulda, I woulda, or shoulda. If only I'd done this, only done that. Regret, 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 sorrow, woe is me. I think what will happen is, as you allow yourself to go through the eclipses, you will be basically gently and tenderly drawn through a lot of experiences in your life almost like action replays, like with all the retrogrades happening in the planets, that will lead you through like an emotional cleansing. It could be, I would say, uncomfortable or perhaps very painful as you go through the heartfelt purging and the releasing of all the emotional suffering, so that you can come out the other side and refocus your attention on the simple, pure things of life that lie ahead of you. If you think of this as a miniature Ace of Cups that lies in your future, you're not there yet. You have to live through the eclipses, and you will do that. All I'm suggesting is please allow your heart to open. Allow the emotions to flow. If you have to cry, cry. If you have to be alone, be alone. If you have to laugh and party, laugh. Whatever you have to do, allow yourself to live through those evolutionary gateways and consider them as a form of grooming to get you to the place where you need to be as this new incarnation of yourself who embodies more and more of this kind of energy. Okay? Now that's a lot to do. That's a lot of pressure, but it wouldn't happen to you unless you could handle it. Okay, Tina? And you will have the resources, you will have the divine guidance. Whatever you need will come to you for this to happen. Whatever you don't need will be removed, so don't have to worry. So what are the challenges here? Okay, well, my feeling is that you have a deep fear that this might not work. It's like the expectation levels are so high on yourself, from yourself, that you're not sure whether you can actually withstand the pressure. It's almost like, how am I actually supposed to do this? Because sometimes with great power comes great responsibilities. So this is the energy of having to carry huge amounts of compassion and empathy for the sake of yourself and your loved ones, for healing and for divine healing. Divine healing for yourself, and in so doing, divine healing for others. And so with the Queen of Cups here, my feeling is that it's almost like this deep fear of going through the grooming process, the deep purging process of what has to happen to you as an individual to get to the point where you can rise above all the pain, the trauma, and the suffering that would contradict all the love that you carry and that you own inside you. If you think of this as the Queen of Cups having the ability to carry this sacred energy of the Ace of Cups here, which is waiting for you on the other side of the eclipses, then from my perspective, this is nothing to fear. Obviously, from being in the position of, how am I going to do this? Here we are today, right now, at the time of this reading here. What I'm suggesting is that the Three of Cups is like this emotional purging and maturity process to get through a grooming process, a spiritual grooming, evolving higher level of frequency from here to here to here to here, where you come out on the other side in the middle of 2020 carrying much more, I would say, refined energy, which is going to allow you to be the new incarnation of Tina Miller on the other side. Okay? So, despite your deep fear of being able to live through the grooming process and having to face all the things that you don't want to face because it's so emotionally painful, how are you going to deal with that? Beautiful. Do not be scared, Tina. With the Nine of Swords here, you deal with it by allowing all the pain and suffering that is either being repressed or ignored or denied, buried, refused. You allow all of that to come to the surface. The way I see this reading here, Tina, is that you allow yourself to feel the pain that has been hidden or that had to be hidden in order for you to live your life till this moment. Going through the eclipses, you allow yourself to go through what I would call this like decompression. Like deep sea scuba divers, they have to go through huge amounts of these decompression chamber experiences so that they can come back to life and live on the surface of planet Earth again without dying from all the pressures of being under so much intense pressure deep below the surface. So I think with the Nine of Swords here, the way to handle going forward is to allow yourself to be guided through. Allow yourself to surrender to divine guidance, divine intuition. Allow the emotions to flow. Allow yourself to, get even deeper into heart center than you are already. I mean, it's a never-ending challenge. You're already a very loving, caring, compassionate person, empathic and everything. But we're taking things to the next level here. And the way to do it is to go through your own purging, your own self-purging. And once you get to the other side, to me it looks like you're going to have the ability to do a lot of purging of deep pain and suffering and anxiety that exists in others. Okay? And so, in other words, you welcome this. You invite this to come to you. Okay? Dear lost ones, dear ones who are in pain and suffering, bring to me your pain. Bring to me your sorrow. Bring to me your suffering, and let us be healed. Okay? That's what I see here, Tina. Okay? I hope that makes sense for you. All right, so I hope that makes sense, Tina. It came to me as like a very surging kind of reading, and I was trying to convey it as coherently as I could so that you could get the best value out of this, okay? Thank you so much, Tina. Up next, we got Nikki. All right, now I need another refreshment. I'm going to switch out to my to the wine cellar. Excuse me. I'm just going to shuffle this all up, and next up we're going to be reading for Nikki. You know what? I'm just going to take a little mini break here, if you don't mind, Nikki. I'm going to play that little song for... Actually, I'm going to play it for Tina. It's called I Surrender. It's a bit of a sad song in some ways because it means truly having to surrender. And it can be an extremely humbling experience. So I'm going to play it. It's called I Surrender. And it's like, to me, it's like bring it on. Okay, just bring it on. And while that song's playing, I'm just going to go and get another little beverage, and I'll be right back. And then we're going to read for Nikki, okay? Here we go. Let's see if this actually works. I surrender. Oh, how the body craves. Oh, how the heart it aches. Oh, how the soul knows all of this. Feels like you manifested me in ways that match perfectly, answering my own wish for sure. So many lifetimes in the making. This time round there is no faking, no mistaking. I surrender, I surrender. My hands are held up high, my knees are on the ground. I surrender, surrender. I hand myself over to the mystery of your sweet embrace. There's no going back, don't even have any maps to our new futures, there's only our next breath. We're so fully committed and so fully engaged, so courageous and fighters to the death, building bridges from your heart to my heart, forging bonds of honest structure, our new start. I surrender, I surrender. My hands are held up high, my knees are on the ground. I surrender, I surrender. I hand myself over to the mystery of your sweet embrace. There's no way around this, only way out is through. There's no way around this, open the door to bliss. Only way out is through, that's what we're gonna do, yeah. I surrender, I surrender. My hands are held up high, my knees are on the ground. I surrender, I surrender. I hand myself over to the mystery of your sweet embrace. I surrender. My hands are held up high, my knees are on the ground. I surrender, I surrender. I hand myself over to the mystery of your sweet embrace. Okay, so I played that one for Tina. I hope that resonates in some way. So, all right. So Nikki, hi, good evening, welcome. It's interesting what I've noticed on this channel, that there's a lot of like mutual support between the viewers, the guests, everybody in the chat, and it's become very much like a support group, like a family thing, and I'm really proud of that. I wish we could grow it a little bit further. So like, you know, like planting seeds of love. I wish I could like expand on the business model, as they say in the business world, you know. So I'm going to shuffle up a little bit here for Nikki. I've just come back from my little mini break. I've got another beverage. Thank you very much. Cheers, Nikki. Let's have a look. Okay, JP, you're going to be moved up to here. JP is the next one after Nikki. I just saw something. I think I saw that you're still here, JP, okay? Okay. Advice from spirit guides. Well, let's see what we can do. I'm feeling a lot of friendly joviality right now, Nikki. I don't know if you can sense it right now, but I have my invisible friends, as you know, and to me it feels like a sort of a bit of like a high five thing, like yay, hi. And it's not really me, Nikki, and it's not really you, Nikki. What I'm sensing here right now is this thing that I've never sensed before, where my invisible friends are high-fiving your invisible friends. Like, it's sort of like this. It's a little bit like this. I'm going to try and... Okay. So, Nikki, pretend I'm one of my invisible friends. Okay? And then pretend that I am one of your invisible friends. And so this is what I'm sensing is going on. It's kind of like, all right, this is cool, man. This is cool. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, man, that's cool. Oh, yeah, I'm digging this. It's like, it's so fun. Like, finally, we can actually, we don't have to actually be invisible friends anymore. And they're like, yeah, I know, it's so cool. Like, Terra Illumination could see us. And, like, there's Nikki over there in the Bronx. And she can, like, she's got her thing going where she's got her remote. This is so cool. So it feels to me, Nikki, like, here's Terra Illumination and there's Nikki. But in the background, there's this whole other like going on between my invisible friends and your invisible friends. Like, this is so cool. Yeah. Hello. Hello. I can see you. You're one of Nikki's invisible friends. And then Nikki's invisible friends like, and I can see you. You're one of TL's invisible friends. Yo. Yo. Good to see you. Like, okay. Thank you very much. So I just had to clear that, okay, Nikki? Because I was feeling it very strongly, okay? Okay, so what the heck was that all about? Oh. Hey, Tina. Hold on, Nikki. Hey, Tina. We'll have to work on that, okay, Tina? So you can get more comfortable between yourself and your guides, okay? That is something that can be developed, okay? All right, Nikki, I'm going to shuffle a little bit more. I did a bit of shuffling already, but I'm going to go again to the last second so that you're a witness. Yay. So, all right, let's have a look. What was that? Hold on, I saw something. Hey, that's Chris. That's my joy guide. So that's my Chris. Yep. Okay. So, Nikki, yeah, isn't that funny? That's kind of a unique experience. I've never actually had that kind of encounter before, where it's just like there's Nikki and there's TL doing their readings at the channel and so on, but then there's all these invisible friends like doing blah, 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 you know? Yeah. Hey, Tina, what we'll do, I think, Tina, we'll just do a follow-up, a one-on-one. I think I owe you. I think I owe you a one-on-one, if I recall. I'm not sure, but if I do, I'm pretty sure I do. Let's make that the theme, okay? Because you're already very, very aware of, like, you know, what's going on with all that stuff. You've translated it very well into a three-dimensional understanding, but it would really, really help to be able to expand your ESP, your sensory awareness, so you can have a more intimate connection with your invisible friends. Yeah, it's totally doable. You don't have to force it. It's a very naturally occurring phenomenon. Anyway, that's another time. Right now we got to work with Nikki. Okay. So, God, Nikki, I have no idea, like, oh my gosh. Okay, I'm sensing over here, Nikki, that your guides, your, who is it? Chris, your joy guide, and probably several others of your invisible friends are actually kind of like, they're just really digging what's happening right now, in that they are being acknowledged like on stage here, like as, you know, lead actors, lead characters in your life. They're there for you, and it's like they're really enjoying being acknowledged and received and understood and perceived by others. Okay. Oh God, Nikki, I'm getting some really bizarre images here. Hold on. So Nikki, have you ever been to one of those really sort of strange, like, I don't know, like dinner parties or something? And maybe there's a couple of kids around, a few adults, somebody is senile, someone is very immature, somebody is aggressive and mean, someone is a joker, and everybody somehow or other makes a realization that we're going to get through this evening some way, somehow. And so someone on the table in the evening, at the event, like they decide, you know what, they're just going to do something really stupid. You know, because like Nikki, you've got your day-to-day challenges in life, okay, whatever they are. The comings and goings of this and that, you know, riots, the news, finances, love, relationships, all of the, whatever it is. But behind the scenes, there's a whole other world of your invisible friends. And what I was sensing just now is that, again, I'm going to repeat a little bit. They're really enjoying that they're being acknowledged and received as a mutually, mutual appreciation society. Like Terra Illumination Invisible Friends, hanging out with Nikki Invisible Friends. It's nothing to do with Nikki or TL anymore. They're just like doing their thing. And they're kind of doing this stupid, goofy stuff like, I see you. Ha, ha, ha. Can you see me? See what I'm doing? That kind of stuff. Really, really stupid stuff. But why not? It's fun. And it kind of breaks the tension down a little bit. And it makes the whole concept, the whole idea of, you know, spiritual superiority come down to earth a little bit, where it's basically like, come on everybody, get used to it. We're all like this. Everybody has this. All you have to do is get tuned in. Of course, it's very hard for a lot of people to do that. But anyway, right now, tonight, there's a bit of a celebration going on there behind the scenes with our invisible friends, okay? They're almost like blowing those party, you know, things. That's what I'm sensing here. Okay. All right. Enough of the silliness. Let's get back to doing something very, very serious. Very, very important. All right. Cards are well shuffled. We've done all that stuff. Thank you very much. So I'm trying to tell myself, come on, Terra Illumination, concentrate. Concentrate, concentrate. Oh my gosh. I'm just getting this really bizarre sensation over here, physical sensations of like giddiness. That's, okay, Nikki, I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted again by mostly, I feel like I'm getting distracted by your invisible friends, and they're kind of like spilling over into the party, and they're kind of going like, hey, Terra Illumination, guess what? There's a few of us over here. We are Nikki's invisible friends. Ha, what? Do like that. And I'm kind of here like, wow, okay. It's like, okay, okay. And they're like, okay. You know how people do that? It's very annoying when they grab your elbow or something, or they tickle you, or they do something that's very annoying. Like they stick the finger in your ear and they kind of go, stupid stuff. Anyway, calm down, calm down, calm down, calm down. I'm not going to be a party pooper, but we have to do a reading here. Enough of the silliness. Come on, let's do something really, really important now. Okay, advice from the spirit guides. Your invisible friends. Okay, they are immediately now changing their demeanor. That's good. Okay, here we go. Cards are nice and pristine. I'm going to do a nice, very classic, even cut here. And then we're going to do this. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle it. And let's look at the influences. Again, it's the same stuff that I've been showing everybody else. We've got these evolutionary gateways, and we've got this massively super hyper stressful thingy that I showed you earlier. This energy field is affecting the whole planet. It's just a question of how is it affecting you personally. Okay? And then the other thing that is very significant tonight, it's happening right now, it's been happening for a few days and it's going to continue for a few days, is this highly combustible, highly like self-destructive energy of self-undoing, miscommunications, misguided, irrational paranoia, saying the wrong thing at the wrong time to the wrong people for the wrong reasons in the wrong place. All that kind of energy. And then acting as though you are right and you know it all the time. Okay, here we go. Okay, what's all this around? Okay, it looks like I got the whole deck upside down. Let me just... okay, so I got the Tower here. So, please don't be scared, Nikki. I see this very frequently as one of the most powerful healing cards in the deck, in that if you kind of look around you and you allow circumstances, like let's just say global or local community circumstances, as having a very clear impact on you and your life right now in such a way that you might feel some kind of devolutionary pressure where things are imploding, like you know how buildings collapse where they have controlled demolitions, that kind of energy. So my feeling here is like, be aware, as you already are, that at a planetary scale, with all the Capricorn, Cancer energies, with all the Sagittarius, Gemini energies, with the eclipses right now, all of that stuff, if you add it all together, it's a huge amount of pressure on the planet, and it's a huge amount of pressure on humanity, like a controlled demolition where everything that is redundant is being demolished and crushed and wiped away. First of all, it has to be exposed in its redundancy, and then once it's exposed in its redundancy, it can be targeted and obliterated till it just kind of crumbles and dissolves and allows for the new growth and the new evolution. So my feeling is that you're probably already aware of this. You're probably aware of the energy of creative destruction or destructive creativity. Let's say Pluto versus the Sun, that kind of thing. And so once you're aware of this, you don't have to be a victim. Instead, you can go with the flow. You can treat this as a moment of intense opportunity for restructuring, reconfiguration, repurposing, realignment of your life, your purpose, your mission, your sense of identity, relationships, finances, all of that stuff. But I was just sensing something from the invisible friends. It doesn't have to be a miserable or terrifying experience. It can be fun. It can be like a massive, scary adventure. If you think of this as the adventure of going on like the most terrifying amusement park rides that you ever imagined, okay? And you are willfully and gracefully allowing this to happen, knowing that you're going to have to go through this process. And so instead of fighting it, you basically say, okay, well, if this is how it is, then this is how it is. And then your invisible friends go, yay, because now we're going to take you on this really bizarre, kind of extreme adventure park ride. And it might be very, very scary for you, but in the end, it's ultimately for your good. You'll come out wiser and smarter and more courageous than ever before. And as terrifying as it might be, it could also be a little bit of fun too. I mean, that's the whole nature of adventure parks, where they do those kind of very scary things. It's to wake us up. Massive evolutionary wake-up calls. Okay, let's have a look. Hold on. Give me a second. Okay, to me this feels like a super ha-ha moment. I'm sensing, I mean, it looks like a terrifying card, I know. A lot of people are terrified of the Ten of Swords. But to me, I'm just going to give you my translation. The only way I can do this is personally on camera. You know, so this is going to sound perhaps a little bit over the top, but it's sort of like this. You know, if shit's going to happen, we might as well have fun. So it's almost like, imagine your invisible friends or mine or a combination of whatever. They're both saying you like, you know what, Nikki, guess what? It's so bad. Things are so bad out there that it's hysterical. So it's almost like, you know, the laughter of the damned. Have you ever heard of that expression? I don't know. I think it might have been something that I made up years ago, but I know it's in one of my songs that I wrote that I don't think I've ever recorded. But anyway, I'm hearing here the laughter of the damned, where there is so much pain where it just becomes ridiculous. It's just like, you can't hurt me anymore. Things are so bad. I've already been through so much. It doesn't matter what else you do anymore. I'm already like tapped out. Everything that's bad that could have happened has happened, and it's happening, and it may still happen, but you know what? You can't hurt me anymore. You can't hurt me anymore. Dear world, dear relationships, dear people, dear abusers, dear confusers, dear other people outside my front door, you can't hurt me anymore. I'm beyond pain. I know pain. I know pain very well. I'm bottomed out. It's just like, it doesn't matter anymore. The only place we can go from here is kind of up. And that's one of the beauties, again, of surrender. It's just you realize, like, it's just like, wow. Things get so bad that you just have to laugh. It's beyond crying. It's beyond grief. It's beyond sorrow. It's beyond self-punishment. It's beyond logic. You just kind of go, this is insane. Okay, so that's what I'm feeling for the Ten of Swords there right now, okay? It's almost like you're immune. It's like an immunity. That's what I'm sensing. It's like an immunity card. And so that in some ways, as terrifying as that might be to some people, I see this as kind of sort of like liberating, like, I understand all this. I know all of this. I know everything about it. I've felt this pain. I've all of that. I know everything about what it's like to be abused, ridiculed, humiliated, defied, insulted, rejected, misunderstood, self-sabotaged. I know all of that. Every single element of that. Ha, 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 ha. Ha, 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 ha. It can't get any worse. So it can only get better from here. Let's bring it on. However, the Knight of Cups is here. Oh my God! This is an insane reading, Nikki. To me, it feels like, okay, with the Knight of Cups here, it would be like, this is taking on, this reading is going to the point of bizarre, because what I'm sensing here for the Knight of Cups is that there's this deep fear of, like, okay, from these two energies over here and everything that we've talked about in the show already, like, you know, the evolutionary leaps, the 3 big eclipses, the huge massive conflict between Mars and Neptune in Pisces and all the Sun and Venus in Gemini. That's really, really difficult energy to handle. It's almost like too much. For a lot of people, it's just fuses are blowing everywhere. Fuses blowing, fuses blowing. And then, so at the humane level, as Nikki the woman, as opposed to Nikki the spirit, Nikki the medium, Nikki the professional, Nikki in relationship to so-and-so, Nikki in relationship to so-and-so, just about Nikki the girl. Just imagine yourself like Nikki the little girl. Okay, imagine when you're a little girl. What I'm sensing here is that even though as the adult Nikki, with your invisible friends and your capacity for things like remote viewing and psychic mediumship and everything like that, there's still this part of you which is the little girl. And the little girl part of you is like, you know what? It's like, okay, invisible friends, thank you. You know, I'm glad you're having so much fun at my expense, but I can only handle so much. I'm Nikki, and I can only handle so much. And I don't know if I can handle all of this. I'm scared. Like, isn't there anything like in the traditional like human experience where, isn't there anybody who can save me from actually all this stuff that I have to go through as the spiritual version of Nikki? What about me? What about me? What about me? Like the little girl, like, you know, what do they call it? Your inner child. Is anybody going to save me? Is anybody out there going to love me for who I am? For love me like the inner child Nikki, who is at the same time this spiritually hyper-connected being? Is anybody out there love me in that full capacity? Anybody there? Is anybody there? It's like, to me, it feels like the energy of, if you could imagine a movie, and you're like in the wilderness way over here. Okay, you're in the wilderness, way lost in the wilderness over here, and I'm Nikki walking through life. Doopy-doopy-doo, I'm Nikki walking through life. Wow, I've done readings for this, I can do remote viewing and everything, but like, what the fuck is going on? What's going on out there? You know, I have problems too. You know? What about me? Is anybody going to save me? Seriously. Who can I turn to? Where can I go? Oh, all I have to do is just keep going for now. I don't know. Okay, so that was my visual depiction of what I was feeling, okay? So, so how are we going to deal with that? Because what we're dealing with is these extreme polarities of energy right now. There's Nikki, the inner child, the little girl Nikki, who was born to be the adult that you are now, who has these extremely rare, unique capabilities. How do you bring these two aspects together into one human person? Advice from the spirit guides. Okay. Okay, so with the Ace of Cups here, I think what they're telling me to tell you is, let's go back to this analogy here. I'm going to have to go back to the movie, okay? Okay, Nikki, what I'm feeling is like what your invisible friends, your guides are trying to do, because you're asking a really specific question. And so they're answering you very specifically. And what I think they're saying is like, Nikki, you just have to get used to this, that this is who you are. You're like this little girl, Nikki, okay? Part of you who is like sweet, innocent, pure, romantic, loving, and deserving of being loved. And yet at the same time, you are this adult, super highly evolved spiritual being who can do remote viewing like that. That's a huge disparity of energy to carry in one physical body. And sometimes it's very, very hard to do. Okay? And so what I feel is that the invisible friends are trying to like help you, kind of making a bit of a party atmosphere. Like maybe your friend Chris, like in some ways things are incredibly serious, okay? But in some ways things are incredibly, insanely, joyfully ridiculous, okay? So let's go back to the movie experience. So as you go through your version of like your evolution, okay, we're going through the eclipses. Oh no, oh that was scary. Then in the next eclipse, oh no, that was scary. And the next one, oh my God, I can't take it anymore. It's too much. It's too much. It's too much. What about me? Doesn't anybody understand? Doesn't anybody understand me? And then your invisible friends are like, calm down, Nikki. Calm down. It's okay. This is what it's like to be Nikki. Okay, you just have to get used to being you. And all you have to do is just keep being you. And they're just saying that. Imagine your invisible friends are like way out here. And they're telling you, like, you're actually doing just fine, Nikki. You just have to get used to what it's like to be the adult Nikki, even though you're in the physiology of being like this divine child of God, so to speak. And so you just have to keep going and to remember that ultimately, what? What? Ultimately what? Ultimately what? What? Okay, what they're saying is that it's kind of like really simple. It's like, hold on, look, it's almost like they're saying, Nikki, it's no insult. Don't take this as an insult, but that's all you're meant to be. You're simply meant to be a divine message. You're supposed to be an instrument of the healing power of love, and that's all it is. That's what you signed up for in this lifetime. That's who you are, and that's what you're doing. And sometimes it's very disorienting. Sometimes it's frightening. Sometimes it's very disturbing. But that's what happens when you sign on to be a very, very highly specialized instrument of the healing power of love. And if you want to look at it from our perspective, from our perspective, pretend I'm one of your invisible friends, and they're saying, Nikki, you have to understand that actually, from our perspective, we'd like to inform you that this is an incredibly privileged lifetime. Okay? It might not feel like it from the perspective of, the inner child Nikki, because it might be terrifying, like, why me? Why me? But if that's what's happening, and so your invisible friends want you to understand that this is just like an amazing thing. And there are going to be moments of like terror, of fear, loss. Is anyone going to save me? Does anybody love me as the girl, as the woman, as the inner child? Is anybody going to save me? And they're almost saying like, it doesn't matter. It's like it's like, Nikki, you're already saved. And you're just here to be an instrument, okay? And sorry, it sucks, but sometimes being an instrument of the healing power of love, it just sucks. Because sometimes there's no obvious reward. maybe you won't figure it out till you're where we are. Just imagine, Nikki, sometime down the road, you're going to be an invisible friend to somebody else. Okay? Ha ha ha! And then you're going to see what it's like. It's fan-freaking-tastic. Okay? So they're just reminding you, okay? They're just reminding you that this is all it is, okay? This is all you ever signed up for. This is who you are. This is what you are. This is how you do what you do. It is, in fact, a sacred gift. It's a sacred opportunity to be this, to be who you are. And just every now and again, it takes a reminder, like, oh, okay. Oh, okay. So in other words, you're saying, like, I don't really have to worry about this stuff. And they're saying, like, well, you could worry about it if you want to, but you're just wasting your energy. You're better off just continuing to be Nikki. Having questions, being fearful, being enlightened, being delightful, being a medium, being a professional. Just continue being Nikki and understand that you are a gift. You are a gift to humanity, and you're already doing an awesome job. And, well, maybe we just had to tell you face on through a tarot illumination reading, but that's what you paid for, that's what you asked for, and that's what you've got. So there. It's not that bad. Okay, so there's your reading, Nikki. Thank you very much. Okay. Okay, so next up we've got JP, production. Okay, you're up next. So I'm going to put your post-it note. I hope you're still here. Okay, J. Saman Productions. I'm going to check your notes, and I'm going to read them to everybody, okay? Go, Nikki! Go, Nikki! All right, there we go. All right, so I got to clear the deck, and now, JP, prepare yourself. All right, here we go. Shuffle it up. Let's have a look. Thank you, Nikki. Okay, Orlando. Orlando is your name. Actually, I'm just going to put that here if you don't mind. Notes for Orlando. Okay, now, so give me a second. I'm going to shuffle up a little bit, and then I'm going to go to your letter, Orlando, and I'm going to read it to everybody. So everybody get comfortable, chat amongst yourselves, just do what you do. Make friends, hang out, share your cookies, share your beverages, share your community snacks, whatever you're bringing to the campfire tonight. Okay, so I'm going to leave that for a moment. All right. Cheers. All right, let me see if I can do this. Okay, Orlando, I'm just going to slightly reinterpret it as I read it, okay? So bear with me. Okay, here we go. Jarasaman Productions. Hello, I am Orlando. I am an Aquarius. Rising. Moon, Virgo. Hold on, let me see if I can do this. Aquarius rising and moon. A Virgo sun in the 7th house. Okay, so let me just stop right there. Virgo sun in the 7th house. So it's kind of, when you have your sun in the 7th house, it's almost like your default setting is to be in relationship. Relationships are fundamental for you. For you to be with someone and someone to be with you in such a way that you are there for them and they are there for you. Relationships would be, in other words, it's almost like the energy of marriage would be your default setting. Okay? So nothing good or bad about that. It's just what it might be when you have the sun in the 7th house. The question is looking deeper into the chart about relationships and so on. It looks to me like you're an Aquarius rising, Aquarius moon. So that would probably leave you being quite scientific, some kind of researcher, some kind of brainiac. It says over here, I am contemplating leaving my job of 22 years. Wow, that's not a job, that's a career. Or at the very least, I'm considering applying for medical retirement. Okay. So now you're interested in what should I be doing or expected in the immediate future. My future in general, I am searching for freedom, of course, because of all that Aquarius energy. Freedom is incredibly important for Aquarians. It's like having water. It's like having air. It's like having food. It's an essential ingredient to life. Aquarians really need to feel that they have the ability to think what they want, say what they want, and I guess not be punished for it, and not be held down to any kind of oppression or any kind of, let's say, stifling or suffocating situation or relationship, or like a career or a spouse or finances or anything. Okay, so it says here, my future in general, I am searching for freedom, love, and happiness. Wow, okay, that's a big order. Freedom, love, and happiness. I was born Orlando, September the 15th, 1967 in California. Okay. So going back to the notes here, it says, what should I be doing or expecting in the immediate future? Okay, well, hold on. Okay, so in the immediate future, give me a second. I'm going to make a special little astrodoodle just for you. This is going to be your own miniature custom astrodoodle, just to help me to help you. I'm going to do a very ultra simplified mini chart for Orlando. I'm going to put the Aquarius on the rising, on the ascendant, okay? And you've got the Aquarius ascendant and the Aquarius moon, okay? And you said you had, I think you said what was it, a Virgo sun? Hold on. Let me just check. Virgo sun in the 7th house. Okay. So on a, this would be Leo over here. And This would be Virgo over here. So my guess, dear Orlando, is that I'm coming from I'm coming from what's called a whole sign chart, where I just do 30 degrees between each sign, okay? But it sounds to me like if you have Virgo in the 7th house, you have what's called an intercepted chart. So your Virgo sun would actually be kind of like over here, even though Leo would be theoretically on your 7th house of relationship. So I'm not going to get involved in the details of the interceptions, but if you're telling me that you have a Virgo sun in the 7th house, that would be on what's called an intercepted chart. Because from what I would call a whole sign chart, you would have Leo on the 7th house. This is the 1st house over here. This is the 7th house over here. This would be the house of marriage, the house of open enemies, the house of fundamental one-on-one contracted relationships. Okay? So if you have Virgo here, it's probably in the early degrees. So let's just say for sake of argument that you do have Sun in the 7th house, so that the energy of marriage and relationships is very, very important to you, and in some way or other. Now, it doesn't mean you're necessarily going to have marriage and relationships, but this is the axis of relationship, okay? This is the axis of relationship in basic Western astrology. So, the thing is, with an Aquarius ascendant and an Aquarius moon, you might have a very natural tendency to be very, or what I would call very unique or quirky or singular in relationships, so that even if you do have a relationship, it might be a very quirky, unique, unconventional relationship between yourself and someone else. Okay? I'm not going to go much further into it, okay? But relationships look important for you and to you. I mean, it could even be like a work relationship, but Virgo could be a very scientific energy. Aquarius could be a very scientific energy, and Aquarius moon could be scientific. So you might have a natural tendency to be kind of intellectual and want someone to be with you like as an intellectual equal, someone who understands that you need a lot of freedom and that you would feel threatened by any kind of energy that would shackle you or stop you from having what you believe is your freedom. So in other words, the whole idea of a relationship could be terrifying to you, even though the Sun in Virgo, according to your notes, indicate that it would be very normal and natural for you to have a marriage type of relationship where you have a significant one-on-one with somebody, okay? Okay. Okay. So, let me go back to your notes again. Give me a second. Okay, so Aquarius, you kind of are a seeker, a little bit like Sagittarius. Aquarians tend to be very, very inquisitive. They want to know how this works, why this works, when this works, and the meaning and the purpose behind it all. Aquarians tend to have a very, can be a very quirky, almost detached kind of energy where they're almost like the scientific observer, okay? And so sometimes that's not very conducive to loving, sweet, cozy, cuddly relationship dynamics because you might be operating as the person who I want freedom. And at the same time, when you want freedom, where a relationship demands things like compassion and coziness and a high degree of bonding, sometimes Aquarians can find it very awkward in the experience of bonding, because the experience of bonding can be so powerful and so overwhelming that it actually becomes a threat. So as much as you might want love and relationship, well, let's say when you get that thing, it's just like, oh no, 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 it's too much. I don't know if you've ever had that kind of experience. So Orlando, I mean, I think pretty much everyone on planet Earth wants, I want love. I want to love. I want to be loved. And let's just say you invite that in. Let's say, dear invisible friends, please bring to me that which is mine. Please take away from me that which is not mine. Especially, please bring the love to me, that which is mine that I deserve. Please take away anything that obstructs and obscures that love which is mine. So it is spoken, so it is done. And then you surrender that to the universe, and then let's just say, because of the laws of attraction, that love arrives because you're seeking that love, and so you've given that out to the universe. Please bring that love to me, and then the universe brings that love to you, and then it comes at you. And let's say this is you, and then the love comes at you, and like, oh, here it is. Oh, they're coming at me. It's just like, oh wow, like a ugh. Oh. Did anybody tell me, be careful what you wish for? Hold on. Love actually requires a lot of, this, lovey-dovey, intimacy and coziness and sentiments and emotions and being very, very, like pets. And then there's this Aquarius moon, Aquarius rising, like, I want my freedom. And it's almost like being a pet. Like being a pet, like, cuddle me, cuddle me, cuddle me. Somebody love me, somebody cuddle me. And then somebody comes along and they give you love and they touch you and they trigger your emotions and your feelings. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, I didn't know it was going to be like that. I think I'm just going to go and be free. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. I love you very much. Yeah, I love you. I love you. It's that kind of energy, so you have to be careful. It's like you're almost wanting something that could be very, a little bit sensitive, okay? So, here we go. Let's have a look. Okay, Orlando, here we go. Now, I think I did a bit of shuffling already, but I'm going to go to the last second so that you're a witness. Okay? Oh, I see your note there, Tina. I see that. Me versus we. Got it, got it, got it. All right, so dear Orlando, could you just kind of do me a favor and kind of get into the vibe a little bit? I'm sure I can remember from the notes you said earlier that you're kind of an amateur enthusiast astrologer yourself, so that's good. That makes perfect sense, especially with an Aquarius moon, Aquarius rising. That would be very natural for you to want to be some kind of an esoteric astrologer, because it's a very intriguing subject. But what I'm asking you to do now is to come to your heart center. Okay? Think of the Virgo sun. Okay? The Virgo sun energy is very discerning. It's very practical. It's very down to earth. It tends to be very humble. Sometimes modest. Sometimes a little bit too humble. Sometimes a little bit too modest. And sometimes feeling like they're not so deserving, especially of loving and being loved. But you are worthy and deserving of loving and being loved. So let's focus on the Virgo sun energy. Okay? Please understand that right now We just came out of a very hard energy with the Virgo moon opposing all that Mars in Pisces and Neptune in Pisces, hard squaring with all that Gemini and Sun, Venus and Gemini stuff. Very, very combustible, highly unstable, volatile energy. And you just lived through that, and now you've just arrived here on the safe side of it. We're now in the Libra moon, so things are a little bit softer and smoother. And now you're wondering about love, okay? So when I think about like Virgo sun, the 7th house, like love would be something that's practical, understandable, something that works, something that's measurable, something that's evident, like, hey, can I open the door for you? Or hey, do you need a hand fixing something? Or they could come to you and they're like, hey, you don't have to work so hard. You could take it easy. Let's just chill out and tonight and watch Netflix. And sometimes it's very hard for like the Aquarian energy, because the Aquarian energy is constantly like this, like I have to find a problem and then I have to solve it. And then once I've solved it, I have to find another problem because I'm so curious and I can't help it. I'm always trying to find out the new thing, the latest new thing. I have to know, and I don't want to let anybody stop me. So it's a very different energy from the Virgo, okay? The Virgo energy would be very practical, and it sounds like you could be a valuable partner to someone else, okay? Like a very practical, useful partner to someone else. However, to be in a loving dynamic with someone else where you are a very practical and effective mate for someone else requires you to have to face the limitations of relationships, because when you get into relationships, a lot of times it means like if you're going to be with this person, that means you're not going to be with that person, or you're not going to be with that person. And so that can send an immediate kind of like, oh, wait a minute, wait a minute, like, yes, I want to love and I want to be loved. On the other hand, what if someone or something else comes along that I need to understand? That can be a little awkward sometimes in a relationship dynamic. So can you see, Orlando, that you kind of almost have these like two opposing energies that are actually working against each other? So to me it feels like, what are we going to do? How are we going to figure out, like, what is your real desire? Are you living from autopilot? Your South Node energy, whatever that is? Or are you committed to living in the now and to whatever is coming to you, okay? That's a whole different way of living, okay? So, let's have a look. Let's see what is happening here. Sorry, I got really carried away there, JP. Sorry, Orlando. I got carried away. I was just trying to explain something that I felt regarding your quirky alignments there. Aquarius Sun, Aquarius Moon, Leo opposing, but also Virgo in the 7th house. So, in Libra on your 8th, I think you said. So the energy of relationships is very significant for you. Libra in the 8th house, shared resources in significant relationships. Okay. 5 planets in the 7th. I see your notes. Oh my gosh. Okay, so it's all about relationships. So the question is, what relationship? How are you going to find a compatible relationship and maintain a sense of freedom at the same time? Let's have a look. So what messages do we have here for Orlando tonight? Looking into the future after a long career, a long career. going into medical retirement and looking for love and freedom. Let's see, what's the message here? Okay, hands on heart, Orlando. Take a few deep breaths, hands on heart. Here's the situation, here's the challenges, here's how we're going to handle it. Let's have a look. And what's the weather like for you? Okay, so we've got temperance here. Okay, my feeling is that right now, I think, to me it feels like you're under pressure right now to heal thyself. Okay? Like, whatever you might want in terms of freedom, whatever you might want in terms of love, you have to address certain issues inside yourself first of all before any of the so-called future expectations can come about. I know with the Aquarius rising, Aquarius moon, there would be a natural tendency for you to live not in the present, but more in the future, and more even in the distant future. Okay, with the Virgo sun, chances are you like stability and practicalities. So those are very different contradictory energies. My feeling is like with the temperance energy here, the message for you from the energies and the planets surrounding you right now is deep self-examination, deliberately like throwing yourself. Okay, hold on. I'm going to do something else for you. Where is your little doodle that I made just for you? Where is that? Hold on. So with the temperance here, okay, I see your notes there. I want freedom from my job. Okay, self-healing, self-healing, self-healing. You see this Virgo energy here? Okay. I did a lot of readings for a client late last year. The client happened to be a Virgo, and they were deeply concerned about relationship dynamics. And why was it so difficult? Well, it's because Pisces, which is your opposing sign here, okay? Pisces has been living inside, Neptune has been living inside Pisces for the last 7 or 8 years, and we have another 5 or 6 years to go, okay? So with Neptune in Pisces, it's kind of in its home territory, and it's in your place of opposition, okay? So if we let's pretend this is a solar chart today, right now. Pretend this is the solar chart for Orlando. So I'll put Virgo on the ascendant over here, okay? Solar chart, not a natal chart, a solar chart. So your sun is over here in Virgo, and opposing you over here is Neptune in Pisces. So that looks to me like it's making it very, very difficult to understand what the hell is going on in my relationship, in my relationships, okay? And so it's almost like the deeper you look into the relationship dynamic, the more confused and lost you may become. With Mars in Pisces right now, you're in the right place at the right time with the right reason, with the right reader. Mars is agitating and stirring up the relationship energy in your chart, basically saying, I want something to happen. I need action. I need results. I want something right now. And at the same time, Neptune is dissolving anything and everything in terms of relationships. And so that's actually a very, very difficult energy to handle. It's very difficult for any Virgo to handle this energy right now. Neptune in Pisces in the 7th house, it makes it very, very difficult to like tie down a relationship, understand a relationship, or even if you do have a relationship and it is cemented or solidified, you discover that it's not what you thought. It changes. Like the closer you come to it, the more it changes into something else. And so it's like this sort of this beautiful, idyllic optical illusion. And it's very hard to deal with that. So if you're struggling in the dynamic of relationship, the way to come to it is to understand that you have to like fall in love with yourself first and come to a realization and understanding that your relationship dynamics are under a lot of stress right now. It's almost like there's no point in expecting any kind of what I would call a healthy relationship. I think the whole purpose of this reading here tonight is to bring into awareness the idea that you are seeking freedom and at the same time you are seeking love. Okay? And that's a tricky combination given who you are and your astrological profile. So let's have a look. What's the situation? Okay, I don't do reversals, sorry. The whole deck was upside down. King of Cups. So, to me it feels like you are determined to be a very loving person in a loving relationship. Like no matter what. Okay? The King of Cups energy represents a high degree of sovereignty, of self, high degree of ownership, a high degree of capability of handling immense stress, especially if it comes in the context of love and relationship, where, in other words, like, it's almost like the energy is saying here, listen, please, Tarot Illumination, I want you to know, I want everybody to know that actually whatever you were telling me so far tonight, that's great, thank you, Tarot Illumination, but the reality is I'm actually a very loving person. I'm a very loving man, and I deserve the same, okay? And because I have this Virgo energy, it might be that I'm extremely picky, I'm extremely discriminating, and that, if I'm honest, that makes it very, very difficult to have a fulfilling, loving relationship. You know, put all those ingredients together, all the astrology stuff that we're talking about. To me, it's like, I am loving. I am loved. I deserve to be loving. I deserve to be loved. And so, like, what about it? You know, where is it? What about it? But it's almost like the energy is so big, it almost becomes almost hazardous. It's almost like you've set the standards so high. Again, that's a kind of a Virgo thing, the energy of perfection. They set the standards so high that it's almost guaranteed that you're going to be disappointed. Oh, gosh. Hold on. All right, so what's the challenge with this? Okay, so I see the Page of Swords here. My feeling is that, like, when you're in, let's just say you're in the context of love and relationship, to me it feels like whether you like it or know it or not, there's a very high probability that you're going to call out and declare anything and everything that is not working about the love or about the relationship. And that would be natural with the Virgo Sun and with the Aquarius rising, Aquarius moon. High degrees of perfection, high degrees of wanting things to work, wanting to understand things to the point where the relationship is almost like a science experiment. And then as you live through the science experiment of relationship in your life, it's almost like every time that something goes wrong or something goes out of alignment from your perspective, deep down, you know that you have a very high probability that you're going to call it out. You're going to say, oh, you know what, like, I'm sorry, thank you, darling. I'm just going to go back to a little bit of storytelling here. Like, okay, pretend I'm Orlando and I'm now officially in a relationship, and like, there's the other person over there. Like, hello, like, yeah, this is great. I've noticed that I really love you and you love me. That's really great. But, I wanted to point out something like, like when we're sleeping together, I don't like the way that you move the pillow around, because it's like, it's very upsetting to me. And then they're like, what? Well, it could be the tiniest little thing, like, I really love you, you love me, but, when you close the front door, can you make sure that the latch is done in a certain way, so that I can continue to love you the way I love you and the way that I know you love me? I don't want to be too picky, but like, if I don't have things in a certain way, then it's very hard for me to love and be loved. So that's kind of what I'm feeling here, okay, Orlando? And that can make it very hard to function in what a lot of people would call a loving relationship, because the reality is, in a loving relationship, there tends to be, just in order for the relationship to survive at all, there has to be quite a lot of, let's say, wiggle room or tolerance for imperfections in the relationship and in the other person. So you put that energy of the Aquarius moon, Aquarius rising, very scientific, precise, wanting to know and understand everything. And then you have the precision and the pickiness and the extreme high levels of expectation of the Virgo, so high that the chances are they're not going to be met. That can potentially leave the other person with a sense of like, how on earth am I supposed to live up to your expectations? How can we have a really loving relationship when you're bugging me about the way, like, you serve dinner, like there was too much salt, or maybe the noodles were arranged on the wrong side of the plate. Ah! Okay, so I just saw your notes on the screen there. If you're having wanderlust, okay, let's keep going on the reading. Hold on, this is exciting. So how are we going to deal with this? So this looks really, really awkward to me. I'm sorry, Orlando, this looks incredibly awkward. So how are we going to deal with it? Okay, my feeling is let's not be shy, okay? If you are being very, very cautious, or if you have been very cautious and shy and reserved, let's talk about the Virgo sun and talk about a career for the last 22 years, and you've been very dutiful and honorable and capable, and you've done okay, and now you're getting the wanderlust, and you're starting to sense like, I want my freedom, I want to love, I want to be loved, but deep down, deep down you're terrified of calling it out, because if you do call it out and you become the whistleblower on yourself, that is going to blow all the stability that you've already known in your life so far. Like, in other words, 22-year career. And all of a sudden now you're saying, I just want to blow that up because I want freedom and I want love. Okay, fine. So with the Page of Swords here, like, if you're absolutely terrified of admitting that to yourself or calling that out to yourself or expressing your love to someone or something else, in other words, saying, listen, I just want to take a vacation over in Hawaii, and you're terrified of doing it because it might be so disruptive, and then on top of that, not only that, I want to take a vacation in Hawaii and I want to go on a singles cruise and I want to hook up with some crazy wild people because I want my freedom, but I also want to have a sense of what it's like to be loved. Okay. And so, if you're very frightened of talking about these things or admitting them or actually doing them, in other words, if you're lusting for freedom, if you're lusting for love, but you're terrified of actually calling it out and saying it and activating and doing it in truth, the way to handle it is say, you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to do it. I'm the boss of me. No one's going to stop me anymore. I'm sick of undermining myself. I'm sick of giving away my power to things like comfort, stability, towing the line, being a really good career person. Screw that. I'm going to do something that's totally and utterly about me, for me, and I'm just going to call it out, and I am going to take the consequences, and anybody who can't handle that, that's your problem. Okay? Excuse me. So I hope that makes sense. Okay, Orlando, with that Emperor card, it's really time for you to bust out. If you've been, yearning for love, for freedom, but you've been scared to bust out because the Virgo energy can be very timid at times. It can be very, very shy. It can be very self-effacing. It's time for you to indulge in the Aquarian energy and say, you know what? I am now going to be officially me. I'm going to do crazy, wild, wacky things. I'm going to go out. I'm going to search for love. I'm going to hunt for love. I'm going to go on an adventure. I'm going to do crazy new things. I'm going to retire from my career. I'm going to cash out. I'm going to start a new life. I'm going to tap into the evolutionary eclipses. 1, 2, 3. And I don't know what's going to come out the other side, but I'm going to do it. And nobody can stop me because I've decided that that's how it's going to be. Okay? Thank you very much. Okay. And then you just do it. Okay? Okay, so it looks like you're getting a double secondary reading on the side there, okay? Okay, so let me go back to the reading itself, okay? So, I don't think I can add any more to this right now, okay, Orlando? To me, this looks like it's a very powerful message, is that you're just going to have to, over the next 6 weeks or so, or by the middle of summer, something like that, you're going to have to make some very big, bold moves. Big, bold decisions where you just basically say, you know what? If I want freedom, I'm going to get freedom. If I want love, I'm going to get love. So I'm just going to do what I have to do to be who I am. Okay? I'm just going to do what I have to do to be who I am becoming. Thank you very much. No apologies. I'm serious. Okay? Now, I'm not saying that you're going to have to move it. The thing is, with this temperance energy here, okay, Orlando, it means like you have to go back to yourself. You have to take the whole thing back to yourself. You have to come to a much deeper understanding of yourself and who you are. Heal thyself first and foremost, and then get back into this part of the reading, and then kind of come out a full circle where you come to the other side. And you know what? You know what? I'm just going to be me. I'm not going to be a slave to my career. I'm not going to be a slave to expectations. I am just going to do what I talked about in the reading. I might just retire. I might go off on adventures. I might go out, and you can maybe have both. Maybe I can go on adventures and adventure, and I can find love through adventure. Okay? Something like that. I mean, you have to do something. You're going to have to do something extremely brave, bold, courageous, and fearless to the point of defiant, where you don't really care about what anyone else or anybody or anything else thinks anymore. You have to do what you know you have to do to be you. But I'm thinking, like, live through this. You'll understand this reading a lot better towards the end of July. Okay? Okay? Thank you very much. Go Orlando. Thank you very much. That's your reading. Okay. It's been a lovely evening, people. Thank you all very much. I love doing this, as you know, but we have come to the end of the show. I don't see any more clients here. I don't think I can take any more anyway. So I'm just going to shuffle up the cards. I'm just going to hang out with you guys for a few minutes. Thank you, Orlando. You're welcome. Thank you, Love Triber. So, Orlando, you've probably figured out you're getting 2 readings in one tonight. You can say thank you to Love Triber as well. Alright, cards are well shuffled up for the next reading, which could be any day now, or any evening, or next week, or whenever. Who knows? Alright, I'm going to play a little song. It's called Because I Care. I'm going to play it for Nikki. She's probably gone to bed already. And but I'm going to play it anyway. It's kind of a long song, but that's okay. It's called Because I Care. Oh. And I wrote this for my mom because she passed away recently and I miss her. You know, she had her issues, but she loved me very much and I love my mom very much. And I was very traumatized when she passed away. But I wrote this for her, okay? It's called Because I Care.
Let's dissolve our pain and get out of danger. Heal all the wounds and cure all the anger. I'll be the doctor, you be the patient. Here is your medicine, I'll help you take it. No, it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. It wipes out the fear and makes you live longer. It's not a lotion, it's no magic potion. It's just a dose of love in the moment. I'll watch you while you're lying there, while your eyes are closed and your heart is bare. Perfectly still, but still aware. And I'm right here because I care, because I care. Holding your hand, I know you can feel me. I'll talk in a whisper, I know you can hear me. When you awaken, when we are conscious, totally healed and cured, just watch this. No more weeping, no more sadness. Gone is the fighting, gone is the madness. We can choose to become alive, or just disappear, or become survivors. I'll watch you while you're lying there, while your eyes are closed and your heart is bare. Perfectly still, but still aware. And I'm right here because I care, because I care.
We're not gonna let you go down in flames. No, no, no. We're gonna have fun. We're gonna do this right.
Just watch this. No more weeping, no more sadness.